We freaking made it to Colorado, baby. Freaking made it. So, number one, I moved. Moved to Colorado. I'm in Colorado right now, literally filming this outside in the yard at my current Airbnb. It is a gorgeous sunny day. If you didn't know, Colorado has it's either over 300 or over 277, something like that, days of sunshine, which is part of the reason why I absolutely love it here. I'm a sunshine baby, and we're here. We made it. And I feel like I literally don't even know what happened over the last couple of weeks. I just somehow appeared now here in Colorado, and it feels like an absolute blur. And if you've been following me on Instagram, you know already that I have moved back to Colorado. I made a whole post about it, but I really couldn't express myself fully on the post because it only gives you a certain amount of space in the captions. And Instagram really is short form content. So you come here for the down low, the real, the reasons behind everything. And this is honestly going to be such a good podcast episode because it's not only just a life update, but there's also just some major revelations and lessons learned that I was even able to take just from the last few days and the last couple of weeks and how I got here to where I am today. Once again, apologies if you're watching this on YouTube. It is a little overcast, but I really just wanted to record this outside super last minute, and there is really no great place to record it, but you get the vibes, okay? But so I left Colorado in 2019, and I was so sad. I've moved around quite a lot. I've lived in the UK, I've lived in Brazil, I've lived in Houston, to Colorado, literally been all over the place. But I, for the first time, felt so attached to a place. So attached. I cried driving away as I knew I was moving to New Orleans, and nothing against New Orleans there, more just I knew that Colorado had a piece of me, which is so weird because I'm such, a traveler. I like to go and move all the time. And this was the first place where I was like, wow, I could actually see myself having a home base here for a very long time, which is not my norm. And if you've listened to one of my previous podcast episodes, I legit read from my journal and was basically talking about how Colorado, I missed it so much once I moved to New Orleans. And it was like a piece of me had been stripped away. I know, I'm so dramatic. And it's so funny because even after the last few years of traveling around, I just knew that I needed a home base in Colorado. Kind of I also just know deep down inside me that I need a home base in Italy. Most places I go to, I really don't feel that attached to. I like them, they're beautiful, they're fun, but I'm not oh man, I gotta move here, And it's just so crazy because this is really the first time where I moved for me. I wasn't moving because of my dad's job. I wasn't moving because my family was moving. I wasn't moving because my job told me I needed to move somewhere. I wasn't moving for school. This was literally me just deciding and wanting to move and moving right now because I could. And there was nothing stopping me. And I have full control over my life, And it's this is what we do it for, people. It's just we spend all of this time waiting for life to happen to us, right? We wait for that promotion to come and then it never comes, or maybe it comes, but it's only in 5 years, or we wait for, a job to move us, or we wait for something bad to happen in order to actually make any change. And I'm no, we're not about this life. We are taking control over our lives, and we are doing it the way that we want to do it, right? We are in control here. So before we get into the nuts and bolts of this podcast episode, first off, why Colorado? Now, literally so many different reasons, so many different reasons. Number one, the mountains. Being in New Orleans is very hard because there is zero elevation. Literally, I think the highest elevation is 10 feet. It literally is below water. There are no mountains. The outdoors is mainly just bayous and alligators. And yeah, it's just not my vibe. I love New Orleans. It's super fun, but especially now that I'm really just kind of in a season, and might be for the rest of my life, who knows, where I don't really drink, I don't really party that much. And that's such a big cultural thing in New Orleans. And I'm just I'm not in that zone anymore. If you knew me in college, I was a party girl. I was the party girl. But yeah, kind of just not really about it anymore. So number one, mountains, right? Number two, it's just entrepreneurial friends. Okay. I have so many entrepreneurial friends here in Colorado, both in the online space as well as real estate investors doing really cool things and really big things. And I know that I'm going to be around other people who expand me to think bigger, to do better, impact more. And like New Orleans is very much like a beautiful work hard, play hard vibes, but more so on the play, which is not a bad thing. Part of why I moved to Colorado is because it's also a big work hard, play hard vibes, but more in like the healthy way, right? Like going out hiking and going out mountain biking or skiing or rock climbing, whereas like in New Orleans, it's like, let's go get drunk, you know? So really being around other expanders, people who are going to help me think bigger and accomplish huge things. I just have like a way stronger community of that here in Denver than I do in New Orleans. And just more people who are really like wanting to do the same things or similar things, build similar kinds of business, live similar kind of lives that I am too. And then I also have some old friends from grad school and like just really dear, close friends, not even from grad school. When I was here in Colorado last time, I made a lot of friends outside of school, which was really awesome. While in New Orleans, so many of my friends are also still like in corporate, in engineering, in the same jobs that they have been for a really long time. And there's nothing wrong with that. More just like that's not really what I want to be around right now, probably for a long time. I don't know. And then the other thing is I have a great community of dog mom friends here. Like there are so many dogs in Denver. I went on a walk around the park the other day and every other person had a dog. Literally every other person. But I also just have a really strong community of other people here who have dogs. So it's so fun because we get to go and do so many activities with our dogs. And it's just like, it's like such a good thing to have, right? It is also a lot healthier, as I was talking about here in Denver. Literally, when I Googled healthy food options near me, there were so many options. Try and do that in New Orleans. Not a lot of options. Not a lot of options. And I mean, that's the thing. I'm just in this season where I really want to take care of my body. I'm trying to like age in reverse, you know? I'm turning 30 later this year, so we're trying to age backwards. And there's a lot less like focus on drinking and eating. There's so many other activities that you can go do. And there's a ton less crime here. So I can kind of walk around and not like be worried. And I know a lot of that is in our heads, but New Orleans does have a way higher crime rate. And I literally like I got all the notifications on my phone when I lived there. Shootings happen literally a few blocks away on a regular basis. I just like that stress. And I remember traveling for a lot of last year and I wasn't in New Orleans, and not having that stress was huge. Huge. I just like, you know, wasn't at a gas station needing to look over my shoulders. And it was just like, it's just a different environment, different vibe. And it's so funny because I literally cried in the car leaving NOLA too, because it just felt like I was shedding this old self, like this old self that was a people pleaser and that kind of just like let life happen to her. And now I was really just taking over and taking control of my life. And that's the thing. It's like, it's not, this isn't just like about me here. You can do this too. You have full control over what your life looks like. Full control. You just need to take control over it. Okay? Because while I do love NOLA, it was literally never meant to be my forever home. It wasn't. It was such a beautiful chapter. I loved it. I grew from it so much. But it was so interesting because even when I was living in New Orleans, I dated a guy who had been there now for 10 years. He was working and had been there for 10 years and had just kind of woken up and was like, damn, how have I been here for 10 years? And even when I think back to like 5 years in NOLA, I'm like, damn, how was I there for that long? Like it was supposed to be a quick little blip, right? It's like you kind of just start doing the same thing over and over again, and you let life happen to you, and you start depending on your job to promote you or to move you, and you just kind of let life happen to you, right? And I just remember thinking, man, I don't want to wake up in 10 years and realize that like I'm still in the same place that I was in 10 years ago. Like, no, that is not the situation I want to be in. I want to have grown. I want to have changed. I want to have changed the world. Like, there's so much to go out there and do. But so this really like is a good segue into the meat and potatoes of this episode, is that you have control over your life, but you need to put a deadline on your goals. You need to set goals and you need to put a deadline on them. And you have to set a deadline because otherwise you're going to wake up in 5 years, 10 years, 20, 30 years and realize that life has just passed you by. And you need to put some pressure on yourself to accomplish these big goals. Like, do you want to move? Do you want to buy a property? Do you want to eventually quit your job? Do you want to build a business? What do you want to do? Whatever that is, put a freaking deadline on it. I saw this TikTok video the other day, and they were like, I genuinely think the reason that the summer doesn't hit the same as an adult as it did when we were kids because we stopped making these lists. And it was like a summer 2012 bucket list in rainbow colors. And it had like 50 or so things on it. And the things were like, find a job, become really tan, see a Broadway show, learn how to surf, learn how to do a backflip, take dance lessons. And there was like a little checklist on it so you could like check off which ones you did. And I think it was like 50 things on there. And he just went on to say in the TikTok, he was like, you know, summer 2012, when we were kids, we were out there setting goals, okay? And we were holding ourselves accountable and we were setting a deadline on ourselves to get that done during the summer. We were making itemized lists of exactly how our summer would pop off, right? Because as a 9-year-old, right, or a 12-year-old, we were not messing around with the summer. That's what we got. Problem is that as an adult, we get complacent. And we're just kind of like fine with staying at home and we'll accomplish that thing later, eventually, who knows when. And that's why the summer and our lives, a lot of people just end up passing us by and they're just kind of mediocre. And so we should be out there making those summer bucket lists, putting a deadline on ourselves to accomplish those big things because we don't want a mediocre life, okay? You don't want a mediocre life. You want a big, full, exciting, fun life that you can like sit back at 70 or 80 or 90 and be like, damn, I lived a damn good life, okay? And the reason you need a deadline is because you need to put some sort of a constraint on yourself because otherwise you're not going to do it. Okay. Think about the number of things like, let's say you are in a home right now, the number of home projects that you said you were going to do. And it's like 2, 3, 4 years, 5 years later, and you still haven't done it. Or maybe you said you were going to change jobs, maybe in a year or 2 or 3, still haven't done it. Or maybe it's you were going to hike this like mountain and do this big trek, but still haven't done it. Maybe you were going to go to Antarctica, still haven't done it, right? Because you're just kind of letting life pass you by. And it's so funny. I literally posted this on Instagram the other day, but it was like a voice recording of me in 2021. And this was when I was just getting started on my real estate investing journey. And the voice note literally said, like, 90 days, Olivia, you've got 90 days. And in 90 days, you've got 3 big goals. And one of those goals was to be under contract on a freaking duplex in 90 days. And like, it's just so funny because I didn't even realize this before, but I've always kind of put constraints on myself whenever I really, really, really want to accomplish something. So even like moving here to Denver, I did not need to move now. I mean, I didn't need to move now. There's no real reason. Like, I was totally fine in New Orleans. It was just fine. I have my duplex. I've got properties. I live for free there. There's no real reason. Like, I could have been totally fine, but I knew that it was keeping me small. I knew that it was holding me back. I knew that there was so much more out there for me. And I, by not moving, was saying no to my goals, was saying no to the growth that I knew I had inside me, was saying no or not now to the big goals and dreams that I really want in life, right? The life that I wanted to live. So what are you saying no to? It could have literally taken me an extra 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months to move. But by deciding, I was like, nope, I'm moving mid-April. Like, it's happening. And I like picked a date and literally made it so that people had rented out my side of my duplex like 3 days after I left because there was no going back. And it puts you up against the wall. It really does. But it forces you to figure it out and get it done. And so I had to move. I literally remember, like, it was a couple weeks ago now. I literally remember it was 48 hours until I was supposed to be leaving, had nothing packed, hadn't cleared anything out, and I just went to work, freaking went to work. Because when you put that tight deadline on yourself, you're gonna make it freaking happen. You're gonna make it happen. Because life is too freaking short, homies. Way too short. Just way too short to not go after your goals, to not go after your dreams. You don't want to wake up in your 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s like, damn, so many things I wish I could have done. And I'm not going to lie, sometimes when you do put those tight deadlines on yourself, you start to resist it a little. You're like, oh, but do I need this to happen right now? Like, I don't know. But no, it's like, no, you do it. You do it. It's going to feel a little hard. It's going to feel a little bit stressful. But you also need to have those moments where things feel a little bit hard and a little bit stressful to push yourself and your capabilities and what you're made of. Okay? Because also, once those deadlines are in, it stops being hard. You just do it. You just do it. Because remember, life actually doesn't have to be that hard. When you get into the zone, you just do it. Now, you don't have to have like a go, 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 go mode in every single season. Obviously, there's a push and pull to everything. And sometimes you need to like step on the brake or pull back a little so that later down the line, you can really go, 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 go. And even if you don't accomplish that thing by that deadline, you still have it top of mind here, right? And so even if you accomplish it a month or two later, or 3 or 4 months later, or sometimes even a year later, you still have it top of mind as something you know you really want to do. And you're going to get it done. You're going to get it done. So set deadlines on your dreams. Set deadlines on your goals. When do you want to accomplish it by? Do you really want to buy a house? Do you really want to travel the world? Do you really want to go on a big like road trip around the country? Do you really want to start a business? Do you really want to be an entrepreneur? What do you want? And set a deadline on it. I challenge you, okay? I'm challenging you. Set yourself a deadline. Okay. That's all I got for you today. Felt like this was like so emotional. It's so freaking beautiful out here in Colorado. I still can't believe I'm here. Such a blur, such a whirlwind. Thank you everyone for coming along on the journey. This was such like a beautiful outlet for me to just like let a lot of this go and the feelings that I've been feeling lately. But I love you. Make sure if you like this episode, please, 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 please let me know or post it on your social media. Tag me because I have literally no idea like, what's hitting with y'all and what's not if you don't tell me. Okay? Because I'm literally like recording this and looking into a camera and at my computer screen right now. So please let me know. Post it on social media. I appreciate you. Don't forget to leave me a 5-star raving review too. It helps so much with the algorithm. I love you. Time to sunbathe, baby. Thank you so much for listening to Wanderlust Wealth Show. Now, don't forget to follow the podcast, or if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you love this episode, it would literally mean the world to me if you shared this with a friend or a family member or literally like anyone off of the street. Like right now, go ahead, share it so you don't forget, or post it on social media and make sure to tag me. I love seeing what you're listening in on and what you resonated with, and I'm just so freaking thankful for you. I'm so freaking excited for you. I love you, and don't forget, life really doesn't have to be hard.